Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is going to be something a little bit different since commercial shoots are coming back online. What I thought I might try to do, and I'm recording this before any of this happens, but what I thought I would try to do is take y'all along with me on a commercial advertising photo shoot. It's a 2-day shoot and it's about 400 miles from here. So after I get done recording this, I've got to get over here and pack all my bags, load up, and hit the road. And we'll be shooting tomorrow all day and Tuesday all day. And then Wednesday will be drive back and unload, and then I've got 2 more shoots this week. But I thought it might be interesting to give you all a behind-the-scenes view of everything that goes into a photo shoot like this, and along with that, kind of the lifestyle that it is doing this as a profession. So right now, as well as recording this video in my head, I'm trying to work out my lighting setup based off of the creative calls that we've had over the past week. Well, we had 2 last week where the client and the agency basically gave me the details of what they're looking to capture during this shoot. And so I've got to figure out on this end how I'm going to light that. And obviously, I've got to include everything in my loadout, which will make that lighting possible. Now, another aspect to this shoot, and this is kind of part of being a professional commercial photographer, is being able to solve problems, creative problems that are presented to you from someone like the client here on this shoot, because in this specific case, they are wanting some motion blur to go along with some of the images that will be included in the final composite image for this client. So, and that's one of the reasons they brought me in on this job, because I've done that in the past with motion blur. And so they're looking to have some of that effect going on in the final product here. But when I've done the motion blur in the past, it was with my Nikon cameras, and they allowed me to select what curtain sync I wanted to have with my strobes. And for this shoot and for most of the previous shoots that I've done this, kind of a dragging shutter, rear curtain sync type work, the Nikons allowed me to select that in camera, but the Canon, I can't. Maybe some of y'all can help me out here. It'll be after the shoot's over, unfortunately, but I can't get this camera to let me, within the menu system, select rear curtain sync. It's front curtain, and I'm stuck with that with my ProPhoto flashes. And so, as part of trying to solve this problem yesterday, I went to Best Buy here locally and picked up just their cheapest flash they had in stock, which is like a Sunpack flash. And it was, I just had to go by what the box told me, that it was compatible with Canon and Nikon cameras. But anyway, when I put this on the Canon R5 here, it does allow me to get into the menu where I can access which curtain I want to sync with my strobe. So what I think I'm gonna have to do is use this flash, probably directed straight up, and then set my strobes on set to the optical sensors. So when this flashes, they will know to flash. So this, what I'm gonna do to rear curtain sync, and if y'all are interested, I can kind of go into that maybe more in detail in another video. But what that means is that when I push the shutter button, and my exposures will be probably a ½ second or longer. And so when I push the shutter button, the shutter opens in the camera, and then right before the shutter closes, it signals the strobes to flash. So the camera will be recording everything prior to the flash as kind of that blurred signal. So I will have my subject on set move as I push the shutter here. And so they will move, it will capture that as a blurred image, and then the strobes will fire and freeze them where they are at the tail end of that ½ to 1 second shutter duration. So another variable that comes into this is ambient light on this set. So I've only had scouting photos of where we're gonna be working, and it makes me a little uneasy just because I won't be able to know how this is going to work out until we get there and run some tests tomorrow morning before talent gets to set. So I've got to have everything dialed in to the way that the client is approving the images before we get rolling with actual talent in front of my camera. So we're going to have to dial that in. I'm hoping this works. Sometimes when you set the strobes to the optical sensors, they don't all fire. It's a little inconsistent, but I do have 2 of these bodies. And so that's why I'm going to try first to make it work with the Canon R5s. If it doesn't work, or if I'm having inconsistent flashes with my strobes, then I'll divert to the Fuji over here, which will allow me, like the Nikon, which will allow me to select what curtain I want to sync with my strobes. And so I can set this to rear curtain and it works just fine. The only issue here is this is 100 megapixels, which is a little bit overkill for what we're doing. It's a little slower to work with, and I only have 1 of these bodies. So if something does go wrong with this, then I'm gonna have to go back to this and try to figure that out. A lot of anxiety producing thoughts here, as well as the fact that I've got to figure out how I'm gonna light this setup to get what they are wanting in camera. But if I can't understand why Canon will not allow us as photographers to select which curtain we want to sync with our flashes, or strobes in this case. But anyway, from this point on, I've got to load my gear up. I've got to get it in the car and going to hit the road. So what I'm going to do is as these 2 days progress, I'm going to try and record as much as I can behind the scenes. I have to walk that balance where it's not too obvious, I guess, kind of what I'm doing. My focus has got to be on getting the images for what I'm being hired for, and the behind the scenes stuff has to be secondary. So I've got to walk that line to where no one takes issue with me recording these videos, which I hope to do. So if I can't get it on set, I'll kind of try to provide as much content as I can from all set with some commentary, just kind of letting or describing the activities and what goes into what we're doing. So you'll be along hopefully for the ride for over the next couple days. When I get back here on Wednesday, I'll kind of do a wrap up here. But I hope it turns into something interesting. I hope I get some cool content, and most of all, I hope that I create the images that make my client happy. All right, so let me break it from here. I'm gonna start packing this stuff up, and then I'm gonna hit the road. So I've got about a 6-hour ride ahead of me. And I will see y'all hopefully at my destination next. So I'm making my first stop for a little gas top off and some food for a late lunch, it looks like. But one thing I realized I didn't touch on was the when I was talking about the ambient light and how I was unsure about how much was going to be in this space where we're going to be shooting. And so what I ended up doing was packing a couple of Godox continuous lights. So I'll have more control over that ambient and can dial that up or down, and that will directly affect the blur that we will have on those images where I'm trying to get the second curtain sync. So just another element that I had to consider when putting together my loadout. Talking about my loadout, we had another situation with a backdrop. We need a colored backdrop for what we're trying to do the next couple of days, and ordered it out of New York. Supposed to have it shipped back to my studio, but they didn't get it out in time, so now I've shipped it to the shoot, well, the hotel where we're staying tonight. And I haven't mentioned either, the shoot is in Alabama, so I'm driving through Georgia on the way to Alabama. And because of that backdrop being delayed, I've got a buddy of mine, an assistant that I work with in Atlanta, who's going to meet me as I drive through Atlanta with another backdrop that I purchased. So I just wanted to make sure that I was covered on that aspect and not leave anything up to chance. So it's another one, yet another one of those things. And then to fit that into this loadout I've got, let's see if you can even see, I've got a not even sure you can see it right now because the bags have shifted a little bit, but I've got a hole in here where that backdrop is. Hopefully, there you go, hopefully that backdrop will slide right through that hole and it'll end up here on the front dash with me. It's going to be so long, but you got to do what you got to do. Well, travel days in the books, thank goodness. Long, probably 7.5 hour drive with traffic through fun Atlanta. If any of y'all have made that journey on I-20, not for the faint of heart, but made it here. I'm in Troy, Alabama. Got the hotel room, the mask going. I'm gonna bed it down here in a minute, and we got an early start in the morning, so I will see y'all then. All right, so I thought I would jump in here real quick and walk you through my lighting setup. I've got a beauty dish boom there over the front, got a large umbrella with diffusion on the left, a 6-foot gridded strip box on the right, V-flat there in the front corner for some bounce, a medium umbrella here to throw some more light on that backdrop, try to keep it
evenly lit. Next to the large umbrella with the diffusion, you can see two more strobes, one with a reflector acting as a kind of a rim light, and the other is firing up on the backdrop to fill in some of that. And then there's my fill, which is medium umbrella. We also had DeMarcus Ware, great football player, played at Troy, also played in the NFL for many years for the Dallas Cowboys and the Denver Broncos, won a Super Bowl or two there. And so he dropped by on our first day of shooting, and we were fortunately able to get some fantastic shots of DeMarcus.
Good morning, everyone. It's the morning of shoot day number 2. It's like these days they have these grab and go lunches at the hotel instead of a breakfast bar or full-on breakfast, but they'll make a coffee and put something in a brown bag. Water, a granola bar, a muffin, and a banana. Things are still different than they used to be. But everything went great yesterday, I think I mentioned. So right now I'm making sure all my batteries are charged that I put on chargers here in the room. When I get back over there to the location, I will have to run and charge my strobe batteries, which I didn't get the ones I didn't get put on the chargers yesterday. Sorry, it's still early. I can hardly think right now. So that'll be the main kind of goal for when I get over there, to make sure everything gets charged up in the next hour or so before we start shooting again. Yesterday, things went great, as I believe I mentioned. I opted for the Fuji system to do the rear curtain sync, where we needed some of the blurred action on the images, which I'll show some of those on here. And then I switched back over to the Canon R5 for just the static, kind of regular studio shots. So basically what I would do is just switch the the tether cable from the Canon to the Fuji based on what we were doing, and then just switching it back, turn the cameras off each time. I did have one strobe that quit firing, so that's a little disconcerting. I have to figure out, so I've got to send that back in to get repaired. But fortunately I had a extra strobe, so I was able to put that one in place of the one that quit firing during the shoot. So just another one of those things that you got to keep an eye on when you're doing this type of thing. And if something starts looking different on the computer when the images are coming across, you basically have to kind of figure out, what's going on, what's not firing. If it's just a inconsistency, or if something is wrong. And this unfortunately turned out to be where something is wrong with the strobe. I'm going to look at it again a little bit more this morning, but it looks like it's going to need a repair job. So anyway, I'm going to have this coffee and probably eat this muffin and collect my batteries, pack my bag back up, and I will head back to the location, and I'll record some more behind the scenes for y'all on that, and see you then. All right, so day 2, another shoot day. You gotta be thankful for those days when I'm behind the camera. So I'm glad we're not outside today, but let's walk it in and start getting set up. This is our health sign-in station. Snacks to eat during the day. Coffee and tea station. There's actually the kind of client area. The tables. This is the viewing station yesterday from the set. And here's my setup here. Still got to unpack for today. Props, wardrobe, hair and makeup. They tucked you around the corner over here with your natural light door. So what's on the menu for today?
Breakfast, we got potato casserole, bacon,
A lot of good stuff. And a couch in the back where I can take a nap after if I eat all this. So day 3, really need this after 12 hours on set yesterday. My body is definitely feeling it. I have to do a lot of up, down, but so thankful for a fun shoot day. There's so many days that don't involve the camera in this business, and so although it's hard work and I feel it the next day, I've got to remind myself that those are the best days, and that's why I'm doing what I do, is to have those days like yesterday. So, but today you have to pay the price. Got a 6 to 7 hour ride back to Columbia in the studio, where I'll have to unload all my gear, and then probably won't do it this afternoon, but tomorrow morning I have to set up for another shoot tomorrow afternoon that I'll have in the studio, and then actually have another shoot after that on which would be Friday this week. So anyway, kind of blessed to have things starting to get back to normal. Enjoyed all day yesterday. We had a great crew. I didn't really film the breakdown because it was such a long day, and then afterwards we needed to get out of the location, and then afterwards we went to a crew dinner, and then came back here and totally crashed out. So another day, travel day, and I will see y'all on the flip side. Got it done. End of another long road trip. But I'm back, and we'll send it back to the desk. All right, everyone, I'm back in the studio. I wanted to do just a little wrap here before I have to break this all down and set up for a shoot that I've got in here in a couple of hours, which I'm gonna try to record behind the scenes from as well. But this past video that you might have watched or skipped around some, I hope it made sense. I hope you were able to get a feeling of what it's like to do my job, what all goes into a production to pull off, what we did over the past, I guess it was 2 days of shooting, 2 days of traveling. So it was a 4-day type of job on the road and on location. I kind of, before I left here on the beginning of this video, talked about my concerns Fortunately, I was able to use both of these camera systems to pull off what we needed to do. I used the Fuji here for the rear curtain sync. I just wasn't gonna mess with using the on-camera flash, having to worry about the recycle times on that, going around adjusting my strobes to the optical sensors. And that was just gonna be a little more work than I had time to do there. And then back to the video. If this is something that y'all enjoy, please let me know in the comments below. And I will, look at doing more like these. And I promise I'll work on putting these together. It's a learning experience for me. This is the first time I've tried to do anything like this, just because this is really one of the first extended on-location shoots that I've had since things have come back together or started picking back up with all the health stuff that we all went through last year. So it's a learning process for me, but if it's something y'all enjoy, I'll work on getting better at it. And then also not just trying to congruently tell a story, but it's just the difficulty. I've got to figure out maybe better ways of capturing behind the scenes while at the same time I am still focused on capturing the images that I'm there to capture. And it doesn't come across like I'm trying to shoot some YouTube video and not worrying about the product that I'm producing for my clients. So I'm kind of still working on that balance. It's just tough when it's just me and I don't have someone dedicated to shooting behind the scenes, but we'll work it out. Hopefully as time progresses and get more viewership here, then I can possibly have someone dedicated there to film more behind the scenes. So, share this channel. If you know some other photographers that would benefit from this knowledge, please feel free to share that. As we continue along there, if this video was worthy, if you feel like it's worthy, please give it that thumbs up. Also, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button down there. Like I said, I've got another shoot in here that I've got to break this down today. I'm going to try to film that, and then the day after, well, tomorrow, I've got yet another shoot in here, completely different shoot. So I'm gonna hopefully try and film that as well. So next week or the week after, depending on how long it takes me to get all this together, could be a big week or a big couple weeks coming up for content here on my channel. And speaking of content, there's extra content if you're interested, always over on my Patreon. Say from this shoot that I just got back from, I will probably have some sort of a lighting diagram over there. I'll list kind of the powers of my lighting, go into that setup a little bit more, and probably show some final images from the shoot that we just had, because I can't show too many on here because it's stuff I've yet to deliver to the client. And out of respect for them, I can't just display all the work that we did over the past couple days. So anyway, hit that subscribe button. Find me on social media at Quantz Photo, over on Instagram and Twitter. As always, stay safe and healthy out there. And I hope to be here again pretty soon, I think, in the next one.